Hey there, thanks for clicking. We're going to try something a little bit different today. I am having this unique experience, which I think a lot of magical people do. There's a group of people who are suddenly using me to describe their own problems. We become very distorted in a very circus-like world when we go through these periods. And it's just often the case because you're a witch. We absorb the stress of the group. It's what we do. It's like a weird role we have in society. But we don't have to, right? If we're magical, if we lean into what our actual powers are, we're able to transmute that. It's when our powers are taken away that we become victimized. So let's use some of our powers to work our way through these kinds of issues. What's our pattern in this situation? We have the Moon, the Page of Cups, and the Four of Swords in reverse, which, no, my cards aren't mixed up. That's the real organic reverse. Great. Give me a complex one. So the Moon here tells me that this is actually a test. The gods, the powers, your own higher self, however you want to play it. Like as you gain power in this reality, they like to throw you little tests. The universe likes to play jokes. It's hilarious, by the way. And that is actually emphasized here in the Page of Cups. You're being forced to face the absurdity of the dissonance of your experience to what everybody else experienced. Yay! That's actually what is happening to you right now. This is Trickster God. You have had this set of experiences. You have this memory of things happening this way. That's been altered. That's been tricked with. You are being dropped into a different situation than what you believe the situation is. I'm sorry. Now stop defending and go forward as if you don't know what already happened. What you're being accused of, all that stuff, just assume you don't know anything. Because that's what this card is saying. You've been dropped into this scenario with no background or a false background. Like I said, gods play tricks on us. That's real. That's why people have different memories than you. We then get to the Four of Swords. And the pattern here, you've been someone who has likely leaned into the power of prayer and help from the above, which is great, what you're supposed to do. Things happen to us that we don't control, and we have to throw ourselves to the mercy of the higher powers. As this card's in reverse, that's suggestive in your pattern. You've unlocked this concept. You're not just begging. You're participating, you're creating, and with focused awareness, you know that you have the power of what actually can touch you. What is your power? We have the Eight of Wands, the 10 of Wands, and the Devil. Your power here is that you are on a hill. You're a little bit elevated. You have power still. Like you haven't lost your power. And even though fingers are pointed at you, you have done a really good job in your defense strategy. Although you're exhausted, I can see it, but you are still quite powerful. And I assure you that you have no trouble staying on that hill. You will have no trouble maintaining that hill. It's really about doing it comfortably, right? And that's what I see in the 10 of Wands. It's hard to do this. Something about it is really difficult. And I know that doesn't sound like a power, but recognizing what is really difficult for you is truly the power here, because that's literally the thing you need to work on. So in this situation where you're being mirrored, right? Rather than focusing on actual subjective accusations, we'll call them that, and I hate to use those words, but rather than working through those subjective accusations and defending your identity, go inward and figure out, why does it feel heavy to defend that identity? So once you understand where that burden, where it feels heavy, that's the thing that you have to solve, not counter every accusation and justify your existence. Solve why it feels heavy to feel like you need to do that. That's the secret power, and the discomfort that you're feeling is really driving you to understand that. And then we have the Devil card, which is actually great news. And I know that doesn't sound true. But what the devil card is telling me is that this pattern of battling another person's reality is actually part of your set of vices. You might not be aware of that, but there's a part of you that really thrives in dismantling other people's perceptions, and it gives you an internal positive feedback loop. Although it feels like stress and anxiety, it is actually an addictive trait that you have because of that, because it's something that you're addicted to. Use that knowledge, right, to take it apart, to dismantle it. Start with the one less, like you would with smoking or anything else. One less, stress out about it one less time, defend yourself one less time. Pick one less thing to defend. Start doing that again and again. And that's how, you can start to break away from it as an addiction. That is your power, is to see it as the addiction. This is good. Let's move on to what our play is here. Strength in reverse. That was rather insistent. The Six of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. The Strength card in reverse, and it was rather insistent. So we're gonna literally be weak. There's something to be said about an open letter of vulnerability, allowing for different perspectives. Is it your job to stabilize and provide coherence for everyone by representing yourself as vulnerable and weak? As a witch, it's your choice. But the play here suggests showing weakness. Six of Pentacles here is a tough one. So typically, like most tarot readers, they look at this and they think, it's about equal give and take. And it is. It's in some ways. We're about unequal give and take. But this guy who's handing it out, who's doling out the goods, right? He's human. He's not a higher power. He's just some guy, some dude. And he's got his hands on the scale. And he's fallible. He doesn't know anything from anything. So your job here isn't to try to educate him. It's to just keep trying to get the things you need. To focus on the original outcome. Not the mirroring that's happening, not the accusations that are happening, not even how it makes you feel to defend the reality that is happening. As a witch, you've got to stay focused on your intended outcome. So as you're working with this arbiter of reality, you're looking for all of those things that are in favor of the outcome that you want, and to really just try to hang on to that as you weather all the trials and tribulations from your higher powers, from the gods that are testing you to see if that's really the outcome you want. And the more that you stay focused on that outcome, as everyone else gets swept up into the mirroring and the projection, the more likely you are to maintain the consistent awareness towards your stated objective. All right, and then the Ace of Cups. This situation, it doesn't define you. It doesn't say you're human. It doesn't say you're right. It doesn't say you're wrong. It's just a situation. Go deep inside and cherish the experience. Cherish the trials from the gods. Cherish your unique vantage point of reality and the experiences that you've had, even when they don't match up to everyone else's. That's okay. Chalk it up to the sense of humor of the existence that we get to live in. Don't get bent out of shape about it. Don't try to defend it. There's no sense. It's a losing game because it's a trick. You can't defend your point of view unless you're on trial. Definitely do it when you're on trial. But it's really hard to really make other people experience what you've experienced. And it's a losing game. Focus on facts, what is demonstrable, and then underneath all of that, try to enjoy yourself, have fun, love yourself. And where it's feeling heavy, put a little bit more tender, loving care there. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please do all those YouTube things. See you next time. Peace out.